That's it, gang. 4 days. 4 days. The countdown to a new golden age, an American renaissance begins. We've got all the latest predictive indicators for what to expect on Tuesday night. You're definitely going to want to grab a pen and paper and write all this data down. We've also got Cliff Maloney at the Pennsylvania Chase. He's coming on back with us at the top of the next hour to give us a live on-the-ground update of their amazing ballot chasing efforts and what is turning out to be an astonishing surge that's happening in probably the most important state of them all, Pennsylvania. Hey, gang, with everything going on right now, it's hard to say what could happen or what will happen. And to make matters even worse, we usually don't find out until it's too late. But when it comes to your money, you should understand what's at stake. That's why I partnered with Goldco. Now, you guys know I'm a big fan of hedging future risks with the timeless value of gold and silver. And that's why you've got to click on the link below or go to turleytalkslikesgold.com to get your free gold and silver kit. Gang, it's an amazing free resource that shows you step-by-step how to get into precious metals tax-free and penalty-free, even if your money's still in a retirement account like an IRA or a 401k. And the best part is that you may already qualify to get up to $10,000 in free silver. You've seen the writing on the wall. Click on that link below or go to turleytalkslikesgold.com to get your free gold and silver kit right now, because this is about taking back control of your freedom and your privacy. We can't predict the future, but we can certainly prepare for it. So don't wait. Take action now to defend your freedom, your privacy, and your future. Click on that link below right now. So here we are. 4 days away, our last live stream Friday before the big day. And I know, I know because you tell me, I know many of you are experiencing, shall we say, mixed emotions, right? We all see Trump absolutely crushing it like he did the other night in Arizona with Tucker and RFK Jr. and Nicole Shanahan. We all see that Trump is stronger than he's ever been before. We know it. We know this campaign has been second to none. It's been his best ever. It shames 2020 by comparison. Everybody sees it. Everybody in the legacy media says no one is complimenting Kamala on her campaign. Everyone sees it's an absolute disaster. Everyone sees it. And yet, we're all still so flipping traumatized from what happened in 2020. We went to bed. Trump is up 700,000 in Pennsylvania. This is it. He's got it. We went to bed. Yes, we did it. We did it. And we woke up. What the? And so many of us today are feeling this strange amalgamation of exuberant excitement, as you saw there in Arizona, mixed with a sense of foreboding terror. Is that you? Did I describe you? Let me know in the chat. Is that you? Did I describe you today? Are you a mixture of like absolute excitement, let's go get them, and but it could excitement and anxiety mixed together? What I hope to do for you today in our live stream, this final live stream before our election, we've been together now. Many of you have been with me the full 8 years, probably most of you the last 4 years leading up to this day. And as many of you are newcomers, and so welcome. And again, if you're brand new, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Love to have you as a part of our community. What I hope to do for you today on this last live stream before the big day is I want to provide some grounding for you. I am your Patriot professor. I help you stay sane during insane times. I want to provide some sanity in the midst of all of the craziness, all of the insanity going and buzzing all around us, okay? I want to give you what I believe, and again, I'm going to lay it all out. So again, as an independent content creator, I'm not going to hide behind a moniker CNN to say you need to trust me. I've got all the, but no, I'm going to lay out for you as an independent content creator that's here to that has to earn your trust. I want to give you what I believe is the true state of the race, step by step. And I believe, and again, you will have your chance to interact with us. We could go back and forth, we can debate, whatever you want to do. I believe that if we understand the true state of the race as it is right now, you're going to feel really good. I can't take away your anxiety. I mean, because that's the future. I'm not a prophet, right? I can't take away but I can minimize it. I can relativize it. I can restore some semblance of serenity in the midst of what appears to be a very tumultuous and tenuous election. Now, of course, again, none of us are prophets. I can't see into the future. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen on Tuesday. I can't do that. But what I can do for you is I can show you what is happening right now. And the important point here is that because our elections don't take place on a single day anymore, they don't take place on election day. We don't have election day. You got for right or for wrong, good or bad, it's irrelevant. I'm being descriptive here, not prescriptive. We do not have election day anymore. We have election month. You guys know that. We have election month. But ironically, the one advantage to election month is that we actually have a pretty good sense of how this election is playing out. We got it in 2020. We knew it ahead of time. Biden was crushing it by every measure back in 2020 in October in the lead up to November 3rd. He was crushing it in the polls. He was crushing it in voter registration. He was crushing it in the early election, in the early voting. He was crushing it. The fact that Trump came so close within 40,000 votes of winning is what was so unbelievably astonishing. So we do get a sense, though, and we did back in 2020, we do get a sense of where the election is. And what I want to do for you today in this live stream is I want to give you the full picture of where we are right now in this election. So here's how we're going to break things down in our live stream Friday. So first, I want to list out for you all the predictive indicators, all the data sets that give us a solid sense of where we are right now in this election to help us predict what we're going to see on Tuesday. Again, it is only a prediction. It is assuming past is prologue. It is assuming that the best way to predict what's going to happen tomorrow is based on what's happening today. Then I want to go over some of the possible choke points with you. The choke points. What could go wrong? How could Kamala pull this off? And then I want to look at how plausible those choke points are. They, of course, could all happen, but how likely are they to happen and why? So if you've been with this channel now for the last several weeks, you'll know there are three main election prediction indicators. There are three main election prediction indicators: the polls, the voter registration and identification trends, and the early voting. Okay, so if you're writing this down and you want to calm yourself down over the weekend, remember, you're thinking of the polls and voter registration and identification trends and early voting, okay? So let's start with the final polls for the election. And I don't pick any poll. I don't cherry pick, but we can. And I want to show you why in a moment. We can cherry pick polls. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to zero in on one poll right now, and it is the single most accurate poll of 2020. This is the poll that called 2020 within tenths of a point of the popular vote, of how much of the vote Biden actually got. And that, of course, belongs to that wonderful, I don't know, status belongs to Atlas Intel. The last Atlas Intel poll just dropped. Now, many of you, again, know Atlas Intel is a very, very accurate polling outlet. And here's what they've got. This is their final poll for 2024. The single most accurate pollster of 2020 has Trump leading Harris 49.1 to 47.2. So it's Trump plus 2. Also, even more importantly, Atlas Intel has Trump winning all 7 swing states. All 7. He's winning Arizona by 5, North Carolina by 4, Nevada by 4, Georgia by 2, Pennsylvania by 1, Michigan by 1, and Wisconsin by 0.3. Keep in mind, Wisconsin is notoriously hard to poll. It always polls to the left, but always votes to the right. Just keep that in mind. That's like a law of the universe. Now, interestingly, Atlas Intel swing state polling corresponds relatively loosely to the RCP polling aggregate. All right, so this is the Real Clear Politics averaging out all of the polls, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of them. And Trump is up in all but Wisconsin, where Harris is up by 0.2. What did I just say about Wisconsin? Right? It always polls to the left, but votes to the right. Thank you, Rich Barris. He gives me all these wonderful little tidbits for you guys. So Trump is up in all the polls for the exception of Wisconsin and Michigan, where Harris is up by 0.5. The overall RCP polling average nationally is Trump 0.5, as you can see. Now, this graph, I don't know what the election wizard did. I don't know. It should be Clinton 3.2 back in 2016. It's not 1.3. I went back and checked. So Clinton, she fell. She was way ahead in the polls in 2016. And then her campaign just basically collapsed towards the end in the last couple of weeks. And she went down to 3.2. That was her lead, 3.2. The 1.3 is not right. And again, this is according to the Real Clear Politics aggregate at this time in that 2016 election. Biden, as you can see, was up by 7.4, which turned out to be off by 3. Real Clear Politics was off with Hillary by about 1. What was it? 1 and change. Yeah, she ended up getting 2.1 of the vote. So, a little over 1. They were off by Biden by 3. Biden ended up winning 4.5 of the popular vote. Again, still pretty accurate within a couple of points. Another thing to remember, Trump, and we're proving the point in both 2016, 2020, Trump always outperforms his polls. I want you to write that down. When you need just a moment of serenity in the midst of all the insanity and all the crazy polls that are dropping last minute, I just want you to remember Trump always outperforms his polls by at least 2 to 3 points. That happened with Hillary. And that happened, of course, with Biden. Trump now, as we speak, according to the same methodologies, same polling, same samples, you name it, Trump is now, for the first time in his political life, is going into an election in the polling lead. And again, he overperforms his polls by 2 to 3 points. So according to both Atlas Intel, which has Trump up 2, and the Real Clear Politics average, which has him up 0.5, but he normally outperforms the Real Clear Politics polling by 2 or 3. According to both, Trump is poised to win the popular vote, which is, of course, unprecedented. We have not seen a Republican win the popular vote since 2004. And then the last time before that was 1988, both Bushes, ironically. So we've never seen this before. I want you to go into the weekend not cocky, not complacent. I want you to get men to vote. We'll be talking about that in mere moments. I want you to go into the weekend recognizing that Trump is stronger now than he has ever been by far, period. And it doesn't matter which poll you choose. You could cherry pick polls all you want. Guarantee you he's 4 to 6 points ahead in that poll than where he was in 2020. Guaranteed. I'll put money on it. So here's how the analysts over at the New York Times are surmising the state of the race. If the polling right now is basically accurate, and we are talking about the overall polling here, Trump is going to win this with 281 electoral votes. If the polling is accurate, if it correctly stated Trump's support and Kamala's support, we're going in with 281 electoral votes. In the radically unlikely event that the media was underestimating Kamala Harris, the very media that's been campaigning for her, Harris would barely squeak by with 273 electoral votes. That's probably the highest you could ever imagine of winning. If in the very likely event, if what happened in 2016 and 2020 happens again, that the polls underestimated Trump because they completely underestimate what we call the low to no prop voters, voters that have not voted in any of the last 4 elections or only voted in one of the last 4 elections, that come out en masse for Trump and they don't get polled. They get missed in the polls. If the polls underestimate Trump, we're looking at 312 electoral votes. Yes. And if Larry Schweikert is listening, yes, Larry, we know. I love Larry. You have been predicting this for literally months. Larry Schweikert is the man. He believes this is actually Trump's basement. This is Trump's base is 312. It's 312 and above. He's willing to go even beyond that. 312, if you don't know, is 6 electoral votes more than what he got in 2016 when he became the first Republican presidential candidate since 1988 to win over 300 electoral votes. Here's another way of looking at it. This is from our good friend Mark Mitchell over at Rasmussen. Mark's the best. He's giving us some solid data here. In the last 2 election cycles, the margin of the swing states was always about 3 to 4 points to the right of the final national popular vote. In other words, even though Biden won the national popular vote by 4.5, he only won Wisconsin by 20,000 votes. I think that was 0.4, 0.6. And he only won Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes, which again, I think was 0.9, maybe 1%. I forget. So the swing states vote on average about 3 to 4 points to the right of the final national popular vote. And keep in mind, that trend held in 2020. I want everybody to remember that. And this is not 2020 anymore. 2024 is a very different electorate than 2020. Okay. So right now, according to both the most accurate pollster 2020 and the RCP aggregate that lumps all the polls and averages them out, Trump is ahead in the national popular vote. So that means that the swing states are poised to go Trump by another 3 to 4 points. Now, if you want to put this into some historical context, because I know you're going to see it, you're going to see some polls drop. Oh, it's Kamala by 10. Ah! That's the latest Roanoke in Virginia. It's Kamala by 10. It's Kamala polls. You're going to get that. Okay, it's going to happen. They're going to drop that over the weekend. If you want to put this in historical context, this comes by way of pollster Rich Barris, our good buddy. At this time in 1980, this weekend, the CBS poll had Reagan up by 2. The Gallup poll had Reagan up by 3, and good old USA Today had Carter up by 2. So on average there, you average that out, that's only Reagan up by 1 or 2. That's it. So as far as the polls were concerned, Reagan and Carter were neck and neck with a slight advantage for Reagan, and we all know what happened next. Now, I'm not suggesting that Trump is about to win 46 states like Reagan did. We live in a different country than that was back then. But close polls can end up concealing the makings of a massive landslide, like Robert Kennedy Jr. was talking about. So that's why it's so important to understand the polls in light of two other predictive indicators, which are voter registration and identification trends and the early vote. That's going to help us look under the hood and see what's really going on.